Yeah.
Have I ever experienced bad turbulence? Of course. Well, I mean, if you have flown more than once, then there's a good chance you have.
I
It
experienced
was like
I
so
came up
bad.
out of my seat. Like
Yeah.
when I was floating in the air, the plane like dropped. Everyone was screaming. You talk about scared? That was scary.
I mean, I remember once I was flying back from Hawaii and we were over New Mexico, and man, was the air like really rough there. The guy that was sitting across from me was like praying, and I don't know how, but like I wasn't freaking out. Like I think I just like tuned in a little too much to like the movie that I was watching, Back to the Future, and it had like a thunderstorm like scene, and I'm just like, you know what, like this is part of the movie. I'm gonna just pretend this is part of the movie, and I guess that was like a really good way to like alleviate some of the stress. But yeah, that was a flight that was very terrible. Like it was in the middle of the night too, so it was like around midnight, and it was just really really bad turbulence. At a certain point, I think like the pilot just like went over the intercom and just said like yeah, we're going through some rough patches. We're gonna actually try to divert the flight. Um and what's funny is like, it shows you like on screen like your altitude, and at one point we like lost about 1,500 feet of like altitude. It was just insane.
That sounds
I
fun.
know with I know with that, like I think the pilot, what he tried to do was like to go like a little bit more higher up. But like, what the funny thing is, like the higher up he went, the worse the turbulence was. And so like at a certain point, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to divert the flight," you know. And we basically went around New Mexico, um, and Arizona,
Interesting. Yeah,
or is it New Mexico?
I've been
Yeah,
on
or is it New Mexico and Texas actually?
like I've told you before. I've been on several flights where just people next to me on like both sides of the aisle are just going through the whole Rosemary on the runway during the takeoff, before landing, when we land. And I'm like, oh, thank God someone on this plane cares. Um, but again, those are the same people that are sitting in their chairs without a seatbelt, or they're laying across all three seats during takeoff, or they're standing to walk to the bathroom while we're on the runway pulling off. That's like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Um,
I think I used to have
Wait,
like
have
really
you
bad
started?
anxiety when
yes,
it.
Antony, yes.
We have started recording?
Yeah, yeah. Welcome to
Wait, I
Unfinished
didn't know
Pine.
we were starting. I'm like waiting for it to start, and
Welcome
you're
to
actually
Unfiltered
recording.
Pineapple, everybody. This
You
is
didn't
Dean.
introduce nothing. I'm like sitting here like taking an exam because I'm trying to make sure my license in Virginia stays like current in
Yeah.
Priorities,
case I
guys.
ever move back. And I'm renewing
Priorities.
a license here in Florida, and I'm just like, wait a second, are y'all doing this?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome back to Unfiltered Pineapple, everybody. I am one of your hosts for today, Dean, joined by my co-host Ari and Antony. Say hi, fellas. You've already
Hey
been talking.
guys.
hey everybody.
So, yeah,
As you now are now aware, Antony has been doing an exam right in the middle of a recording.
which
And
is
actually
totally
what's funny
fine.
is like I was doing an assignment for law school too, and then I just decided, to quit that and just to do podcasts. But we can see where the priorities are in terms of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean the notice. Hey. Oh man.
Yeah, for this show, like, we went with a cold open just to, I
Sometimes it
guess, to keep
depends.
us, yeah, just to keep us on the feet,
It
you
really
know.
depends on the episodes we've done. Because Ari, when we did uh, the Jeopardy imitation episode, I started with a more structured one. That's because I didn't know how to naturally segue into, hey, we're doing a game show today.
We just like start playing and then you just go
Yes.
like, oh wait,
So
so yeah,
it just
we're
really
doing
depends.
this.
Same with the state tier list and whatnot. It just really depends on what we're doing for the day.
Right.
So, But yeah, international flights, the regards for people are they're more carefree internationally. I'm just gonna say that.
Hmm. I mean, I
Um,
guess I could imagine, but it's been a while for me to like take an international flight, so I don't have much experience with that.
yeah, I'm probably taking another one in a couple months, so I'll see it again. But
Oh, nice.
yeah.
What about you, Anthony? Have you been on international flights?
Yeah, I went on one to the UK, and I swear, like flying across the ocean is the most agonizing like feeling. Like you don't know how much longer you have. Like it just feels like it's never ending, and no amount of booze that they give you for free is filling.
You take first
Like,
class?
no, when you take an international flight across the ocean, most airlines will give you free alcohol because it helps keep people calm.
Never the ones I've been on have I been offered free
Oh, that's
alcohol.
interesting. The thing with me is like I went to Hawaii and that's like a 6 hour flight over the ocean, and they gave us alcohol there. That was nice.
How else are
I
you
had
gonna get to Hawaii except over the ocean?
Wait, which airline did you take?
I think it was Delta.
The leader. Which airline did you take?
The wait, what?
Dean, which airline did you take?
Oh,
Well, the first time, well, two times I took like Air France, um, and I think we took like Delta coming back. Once was in high school. The other time was in like 2019 before the pandemic. The last time I traveled, which was to Morocco, it was with the Moroccan airline, Royal Air Maroc. So
oh,
I
okay.
know on that flight they're not offering alcohol because it's a it's a Muslim based company into a Muslim
Uh,
country. But with the Air France one that I did in 2019 and stuff, I still don't recall it ever being offered. Same with Delta on a return flight.
I think
So
Morocco though, they have pretty loose laws in regards to liquor. I mean, I guess Westerners can still buy some if they're in the
yeah,
country.
they still have bars and taverns and whatnot out in Morocco because it's tourism. You can't like. There's plenty of people that are coming there to drink and have fun and enjoy themselves. However, anyone that practices Islam seriously is not going into the bars and taverns. They may even serve it, but they're not going to partake in it.
Mm.
And there's plenty of alcoholic Muslims out there. They just hide it better because it's much more shunned than in Catholicism, where they want people to drink every Saturday or Sunday and Wednesday and holiday with communion. So, yeah, but I've never seen. I'm curious what airlines you're taking, Antony, that offer free alcohol that is not first
it
class. Like,
was
it's been
American
offered
Airlines.
sometimes for payment, but yeah.
American Airlines takes care of their worried customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I heard that the Concorde it might be coming back. That'd be
I
interesting.
heard that too. Something similar to it. I cannot wait. As soon as that happens, I'm going to travel more because, like, that'll be the best thing. Like, it was terrible sitting on that plane over the ocean for 8 hours. Just, I felt so sick. But if they bring back the Concorde and it's like 2 hours across to the UK, I will be flying a lot more.
Yeah, I think the flights for the Concorde was 3 hours long, and that's from New York to London.
Well, they
So,
have a hypersonic jet that goes faster than the Concorde, so you can go from New York to London in a little over an hour.
I think it's
I
the
think the
same from like New York
problem,
to California in an hour or whatever. But correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't recall what the Concorde is. I'd have to look it up.
right? The Concorde was basically an airplane that was designed to travel about Mach 1, so about twice as fast as a regular airplane. And with that, there was recurring flights from, I believe it was Paris to New York, and then also New York to London. Um, and yeah,
Okay.
it was an aircraft that flew within in the 1990s, but it's been decommissioned in about 2003. So there weren't any more flights after 2003 that were that fast.
And why was it decommissioned?
Oh, like I was about to mention that too. The price of the tickets were very steep. And so a lot of the flight was just catered to business people who needed to be in London. Let's say they leave at like 9 a.m. They can be there in London in time for lunch and then come back, before the evening. Um,
Yeah.
it just facilitated trade a little bit easier, but there wasn't much of a demand. And the prices for the tickets were pretty steep. And I think there was also some environmental issues, but I can't attest to
It's
that.
like Uber Black of the airline industry at the time.
Right.
All right, interesting.
But also, I think another reason it got killed off is because it was around at the time where the internet was still kind of young. And as soon as video calling and stuff like that started becoming more widely available and reliable, people didn't want to travel for business anymore. So that's another reason. And there were, I believe, environmental issues as well.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like a mix of the environment stuff you said, but also people were trying to figure out how to adapt to a new modern lifestyle with the internet and whatnot. And probably it was a lot harder to get tickets without the internet before then. So yeah, it might become a lot more popular. I would definitely take it if it was a 1.5 hour, 2 hour flight to
Oh, yeah.
Morocco or Europe. I will happily pay an extra $100 for a seat for that because that's $100 to save what 8-9 hours of time because you're already spending several hours in the airport and driving to airports, and if you have a direct flight you have to take it from a certain airport, especially in the middle of the
Mm.
pandemic. Yeah, so I'll happily save up an extra $100 for a seat for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
And that,
Was the economy seating decent?
no, so the thing with the Concorde was it did not have any economy seating. So it was pretty much just
All
like
first class, pretty much.
all first class, but even then the amenities wasn't like specifically tailored like in a way that you would expect from like first class. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have a lot of, you had like the whole plane as like business class seating,
Yeah,
with not too many extra amenities that would, distinguish the price, make it something that was, worthwhile.
gotcha.
So yeah, basically you had business class seating at first class prices. But I guess that's like their selling point was to have something that, is like that's their main advertising. We'll be in London in 3 hours.
Interesting.
And a lot of the
Interesting.
technology wasn't, adopted because there's a lot of, strict control over the sound that goes. So let's say you wanted to do the Concorde from New York to LA. Theoretically, you can make that flight in about 2.5 3 hours. But because the plane would have to accelerate to beyond like the speed of sound, you're gonna have like a whole bunch of noise emanating from that flight, and so that would be like very significant in terms of affecting people's livelihoods on the ground.
Yeah,
You can't really have like a really loud whoosh
you'd
sound
have to
like
have like
going
a
over your house, and then not only that but it being periodic. It's just like it's a lot.
you'd have to have a transcontinental airway strip that people can't build or whatever along, at least for the landing points.
Yeah, they had issues when they would fly stuff like that over the US. It would break people's windows when it hit.
Oh, you mean
Um,
skyquakes?
like
Yeah, it
the
would basically
jets,
cause a bubble of air,
Yeah,
and
I know what a
of
sonic
course
boom
like
is. I know
it's
what.
like it's a sonic boom.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that would cause people's windows to break on their houses in the middle of the country when they had them flying from like New York to California.
Yeah, I understand.
and that was like another thing too, is that they were very strict in how the Concorde could fly either way, because they did have to like decelerate and accelerate just to like prevent like a sonic boom over like New York, for instance. they would have to like pretty much slow down like a couple miles out from New York in order to just like be able to, prevent like a boom like over over the city.
Yeah, but the bulk of the trip is still drastically faster. I think a little bit of like hesitancy at the departure and arrival locations. I don't think that's a big issue. If you're like, you know what, we're going to have a normal takeoff, and then, about 30, 45 minutes into the flight, we're going to go whoosh.
And that was a lot of the concern for the people that, wanted to have like a really fast flight, but they didn't know like what are the safety implications of that. So at first, like people were like hesitant to take a hypersonic flight.
Well, they assume just like you're driving with the Jeep open, and you got the wind just rushing through. No, it's a pressurized cabin.
And if you've ever been on an airplane, you know that it's very noisy. So just imagine like going twice as fast, and then you're imagining like twice the noise. But after a couple
for an hour,
first commercial flights, the people got used to it. It was not as any more significantly louder because they did put more insulation and prevented a lot of the noise from emanating inside the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the added benefit of being able to be in London in 3 hours was something that was pretty much incredible.
Yeah, I think people would be more than willing to deal with a little bit of noise for an hour or two instead of dealing with the turbulence and noise and rattling for like the 8-hour trip. So it's like driving with the window down. Sometimes people are like okay with it. They do it all the time. So, or just driving on a really windy day. I don't know about you guys, but my car likes to make some noise when I'm driving when it's windy like today. So,
oh no.
And the wind, my car is a rolling box. The wind actually pushes my car.
Same.
It doesn't make any noise like coming through the car or anything, but like it pushes that thing. That thing, I get scared sometimes. I go over a bridge on a windy day. Oh my God,
no.
I'm praying every second.
Mine's like that too, but my weather strips are a little bad also, so I definitely hear some wind now and then. So that's a me
thing. I think
though.
for me, when I'm driving, like I would just get like the occasional gust of wind that just like pushes me a little bit. I'm just like, oh crap, that's
a little gust
pushed.
of wind.
Yeah.
I could have little Anthony on a bike from the block down the street riding past my car, and I'll get some turbulence. My car is flimsy.
Oh man. I'm a little bit lower to the ground, so it'd have to be like a really big gust of wind in order to move me.
I call mine it's not a top heavy. I call mine a second tier car. It's not a 2-story car like a pickup and other things like that, but it's not exactly low on the ground. It's kind of like an SUV, so I call those second tier cars.
Do you all remember my old Buick?
Yeah.
That thing was a tank. When it was windy, you didn't feel any wind because that thing was heavy as fuck. Like you didn't anything in that car. It was actually nice on a windy day. As soon as I went from that to my Prius, I was like, oh shit.
A Prius? No. No. Yeah. No. I've wondered, especially lately, as obviously my car gets older. And I'm like, man, I wonder what it's like to drive without sound again. Because I've pulled up one of those decibel meters on my phone and app to see how loud my car is, and it's a constant like, as if you're in like a conference room or like a holiday business party kind of thing. That kind of loud. It's always loud in my car, so if I want to listen to music or something, I have to turn it up pretty loud, so it just gets even louder.
That's funny you mentioned that. I've thought about that recently too. I almost want to get rid of my car because, like, I mean, I can still hear the wind outside. It's not whistling through my doors like your car, but like,
it's not that
there's
bad.
a lot of road noise. I want to almost buy a luxury car just for that. And also, this is random, but I ate some spicy food and I just touched my eye. My eye is like watering right now and burns. So like if I disappear for a second, it's because I'm trying to wash it out.
I think it's because you're going back for seconds, but okay. Think
I
you're
mean,
a masochist. Think you're a masochist.
He likes to burn.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, we know Antony's
done that?
spice tolerance is pretty high. He's just lying.
Oh man.
So. Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
you're good.
leave.
You're good.
I'm gonna leave here like later today, and my eyes gonna be red as fire, and people are gonna think I'm on something.
Yeah, I can't eat too much spicy food lately though, because of my indigestion issues. So I can still
Mm.
tolerate it, and I can, but I'll have to have a Tums or something if it's immediate. But otherwise, I just try to avoid it now. Yeah.
See, I can't really. I love spicy food, but my nose starts to run nonstop. So, like, God forbid I go on a date and they have a ton of spicy food, even just a little bit. I can't even. Like, I have to ask for something not spicy, or else my nose is going to be running at the table.
I just accept it as it is. If my nose is running, it's like why my nose is running. It's the same as like why people
Yeah,
fart. Like everyone farts.
ew.
It's if your nose is running from eating spicy food, that seems reasonable. So I don't. There's no issue with that.
Mm.
I would think. I'm not gonna be questioning it if my date or partner did that too.
What I should start doing is start coughing. If it's not going well, start coughing, and I have a runny nose.
Yeah, make an
Make them keep
excuse for
my
it.
asses sick.
You got
Make them want to sick.
you got instant COVID. Yeah, you need to get out of there.
Yeah, I
That
need
shit's
to
crazy.
go.
Yeah. Instant COVID hit you like hit you like a spicy bean burrito from Taco Bell. It just comes out of nowhere.
Sponsored by Taco Bell.
Sponsored by Instant COVID. Need an
It
excuse
is
to get
not
out.
sponsored by Taco Bell, FYI.
Hyper COVID.
Hyper
We
COVID.
don't want to falsely misrepresent Taco Bell now, but I do love Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell. I just
Is
like the
there anyone that
concept of like
doesn't like
COVID in a
Taco Bell?
cup.
I should DoorDash some Taco Bell now. Oh my gosh, this wasn't
No, get some
sponsored
real
by
Mexican.
DoorDash either.
Support local businesses.
Yeah, not national delivery chains.
Taco Bell is amazing.
Oh, I
Don't
love
hate
Taco
it.
Bell. I like.
He like orders in the middle of the podcast.
I'll be honest.
Ooh.
Like 50% of the time I get Taco Bell, yeah, I experience the whole. Why am I on the toilet? Oh yeah, I had Taco Bell. But the other half of the time, I don't experience that, and I just really enjoy it 100% of the time. So.
Ooh, baked nacho fries burrito.
Oh, what? They have that?
Yes.
They
Oh
brought
my
nacho fries? No. Burger King brought the chicken fries back. I remember Taco Bell had all those ads with the nacho fries or something.
They have the nacho fries back.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's amazing.
I don't eat too much fast food though, but I'm always down to get Taco Bell. So I like a good burning butthole, I guess.
Spicy
Ew.
butthole.
Yeah.
You're putting this on the podcast. Ew.
Too late.
Look,
Well,
it's like
can't
getting
take words
Indian
back.
food. If it's like getting good Indian food. If your asshole's not screaming after Indian
I
food, it
love
was not
Indian
genuine
food.
Indian food. Yeah.
Like
It's
my sinuses are
sometimes the
gonna be
side
taken.
effects are worth it.
They don't have
I
any
don't know
nacho
about that.
fries. They have cheesy fiesta potatoes. I want nacho fries. Why did they sell a nacho fry burrito if they don't have nacho fries?
Can you really prevent that too? Like, if you have like really spicy food and so like a banana you could eat or something that just doesn't make it,
There
miserable
are actually
like a couple hours after.
there are some products out there where you won't taste the spice at all. Your tongue gets like numb to it or whatever. So it negates it on entry. I don't know about exiting, but they do also have pills or products out there, I believe, and I can't name any. I know that they exist. I've seen some people on like YouTube try them, where you it's supposed to help in the stomach and on the way out, so you don't feel any sensations either. Obviously, people are working on it. It's something everyone experiences in the world at some point, so there's definitely someone working on that kind of stuff. As for a food, though, like a banana, I don't know. I don't think there's a food that acts as a natural, I don't want to say lubricant, something for exit when it exits.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I haven't had Taco Bell in months, though.
I'm not really feeling Taco Bell tonight. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, y'all have disgusted me now. So I've
You just have a
canceled
weak
my
stomach.
DoorDash order.
You have a weak stomach. You like spicy food and you have a weak stomach. That's what I got out of this. So
Oh
Poor
man.
poor Antony.
I've watched surgeries while I'm eating my meals. It like open heart, open brain surgeries. It doesn't phase me.
No, I
It doesn't
pass
phase
out.
me.
I can't. Oh no.
Like what
So
I'm eating and what
frustrating.
I'm watching with my eyes, I can totally detach from the situation. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Look at how
I
that
used to have
wiggles.
like a strong stomach.
I have a
I
very
can't
strong stomach. If I
Ew.
throw
I
up,
can't
something
do it
is. If
anymore.
I throw up, there's a problem. That's that's just what you need to understand. So
It's too gross.
yeah, or something's not fitting well in my stomach because it was not cooked properly, which
Ugh.
is a big issue of mine. I fucking hate, and I use this with the correct terminology. I'm passionate about this. I fucking hate Southern cookouts, barbecues, all
Really?
that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Everything has always been so fucking undercooked and gets me so fucking sick. And they're like, "Oh, it tastes so fucking good." I'm like, "You guys are fucking retarded." Um,
Oh,
how can
don't
you
use that
not
word.
properly cook meat safely or prevent people from
Wow.
getting sick? Every time I've had cookouts, I've gotten sick. Every time. Those are like the only times I throw up. I've thrown up at cookouts from
Hmm.
Southern cookout barbecues and whatnot, pit burnings and pig roast. Those are like the only times I throw up.
Well, we're definitely not inviting you over.
I'll eat other
Man,
stuff.
I'm
Or
not
I
gonna
could
cook
cook. I
anymore.
could do the cooking, but people don't want me to. They're hosting it. They want to be like, "Oh, I've been slow roasting this pig for 6 hours and it's still bleeding." No, you're not doing something
Ugh.
right. That's not fucking cooked. That's not fucking good. So,
I
um,
guess just to speak for the people of the South, I sincerely apologize for that
I
because
don't.
I have no idea where you went.
I've been to
You
And
went
just
dozens
to
for
of
the
the
places.
wrong
This isn't like three
you
or four people.
you
I've
need
been
to
to
hold that on them. You went to the wrong place.
I've gone
yeah,
to
I don't know how you
dozens
can
of
go to the
places.
wrong place
I've
several
gone to
times, buddy.
dozens of places. I've gone to restaurants where where you can watch them cook in front of you and it doesn't because they undercook that shit. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with
Maybe
you
you
people?
just weak.
What do you mean just
Anthony's
wait?
calling you weak, Dean. That's
What do you
funny.
mean weak?
You can't handle it.
Ugh.
Nothing to say.
I can handle lots of shit. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I can't handle that. I don't have a counter argument to that. Maybe you're right, but I also know how to cook, so I know when
Hmm.
things are supposed to be done and what they're supposed to taste like. So, but that's just a me thing. Other people enjoy the cookouts. I'm gonna stick with the vegetables and fruits usually. You can't really ruin that stuff. And the pastas. They always bring pastas or potato salads and whatnot. It's. I've never made a potato salad, but
Oh, potato salad's good. Oh, I need to order some of that. Oh,
If you
let me get
guys
back to that.
yeah, if you guys mind my changing the topic,
go
I
ahead.
did want to talk about something and I really thought of this. I really don't know like personally like I don't know Antony or your own like what are your fears? Like do you have any like phobias or anything that,
No, we don't
Southern
talk about
cookouts,
that.
homemade Southern
That's,
cookouts. Being polite and not throwing up at the event. No, I'm
you know
just.
what? For me, the older I get, the more afraid I become of people. I'm gonna be a hermit
I thought you were
here
gonna
in the
say
next like
death.
5 years. I guarantee you, I don't want to meet any more new people. I don't feel like wasting my time. I don't want to meet any more fucking crazy people who just out of nowhere want to ruin my life. I don't want to
Hmm.
meet people that I think are friends and then they come and stab me in the back again. I don't want to meet any more
He means
people.
that literally. By the way, no, I'm just kidding. He hasn't.
I
he
mean
Yeah,
hasn't.
yeah.
He
that's a
hasn't been
true
stabbed in
fear
the
though. I
back
mean, there's
yet.
people that are
Well, honestly, I'm getting to the point where I'll ghost people now, like because I'm just afraid of meeting people. Like I don't care to. What's crazy is I used to be very like outgoing and talk to a lot of people,
True.
and now I'm
True.
just like I don't even like I don't
now is this like in a situation of like dating or is this something that is
in
just like,
general.
in
Like
general, really?
even like just making friends, like it just I don't know. It gets weird. Like when you become an adult, making friends or dating or meeting people in general is tough outside of the business environment where you have to meet them for business purposes.
Mm.
It's very tough. It gets awkward. It's
I
like
mean, well, I will say this, mostly because like I think my situation is a little bit unique that, I am like a full grown adult and, I'm also in like a law school environment. And just the thought of, meeting people like outside of law school, for like to become friends or even to date, is somewhat a little bit terrifying because, at the law school, you know what you're getting. Like you have
Robots.
people that you've
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
and that's why
you're
you
getting
kind of
robots.
join clubs and stuff
You're
and
not
different.
getting robots. You're getting, different points of view, different people,
Well,
but
yeah,
like, um
Robots.
in the outside world though, it's just it can be a little bit like they could be like the most sheltered person or they could be like the most like dangerous person,
Ooh,
you
exciting.
know? I mean, if that's your cup of tea, but I
No.
honestly don't want to leave like a date without a liver.
but damn, took a far turn without a liver.
Wouldn't you at least be at your house? Your date would be over at that point. It's like phase 2. Yeah, the date's over. If you're just getting your liver slyly removed while you're sitting at the Red Lobster, I think you have other issues. I don't think it's.
I'm also like to the point I don't want people over at my house anymore. Like,
Yeah, because then they know where you live, and then it just
yeah, I
becomes
don't want
weird
people to
when
know
in
where
the
I
future,
live.
like,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
if
want
it's
they
any
like,
get
friends over
mad,
either.
yeah, like if they get mad or want to ruin your life, if you let them know where you live, they could show up at your house and ruin your whole life.
Man, you're really
I
making
had a
enemies.
person, I had a person who was that allowed in my house, and while I went to the bathroom, was going through my stuff. I don't know what kind of information they got from me. I don't know if they found my social or what, but it's kind of terrifying because they were in my computer and did something to my computer.
oh
And
wow,
it's
they put something on your computer.
so it just, I'm terrified to even let people in my house even anymore. In the future, like if I let people over my house, I'm gonna have like a lock and key on one half of my house and have the other half for entertaining, or just allow them to be outside. And for them to even know my house address, I'm gonna have to know them very well, know where they live, know their entire life story, to where if they want to fuck with me, like I can get them back. Like
Maybe they just
that.
want to fuck you. No, but in all seriousness
Maybe
though,
they just want to know what kind of
um,
underwear you wear. Are you a Hanes man?
I'm
oh
actually
that's
wearing
a red
things
flag, by
right
the way.
now.
Same.
uh,
With the X-Temp technology.
Yeah.
so I guess now it's just like you're giving out business cards with a PO box,
Yes,
in lieu
even
of
when
your
I had
address.
my business, when I had my marketing business, I had a PO box on it. Even though I ran it out of my house, I had a PO box on that bus. I wasn't
Hmm.
going to have people showing up at my house or looking up where my business lived. And then I put my business location on the PO box
Uh,
on Google, so that way when you brought it up, you saw the post office.
Ah,
I mean, I
interesting.
think there's some legal ramifications of just using like a PO box for your business because if you ever do get like sued or whatever, you need like an actual address,
Yeah,
where
usually
they
government
serve
entities
you
don't like
So
it.
the
legal
way
papers.
this works, just so you know, when you file your application, say for instance you have an LLC, or when you do before you file for the LLC, you file your initial registration with the county you're in for a business license.
Hmm.
You're going to put your physical address and then a mailing address. Now, as
Now,
for
isn't that like publicly available though? So, I mean, if you
it
do
is if you
register,
go to the office, but any a mailing address will be the one that's publicly available.
I know with
Um,
like LLCs and corporations, you do have to register a physical address as well,
you
with
do,
the
but they
state,
will
and
give
then,
out the mailing address for any mail. So, like, if you go to
hmm,
register on Google, because you need to advertise your business, you can then use the post office address. Now, Google ended up changing that at the end of me being done with my business. Um, and they actually required that I had an office um, space, a physical office, instead of the PO box. So my way around that was this company called Regis has office spaces all around the country where you can post your business there, and they have printers and office spaces and meeting rooms and stuff you can use for all the small businesses, and you pay a subscription fee essentially, and you get an actual address where mail can go to for office purposes, and it's in the legal zoning and all that stuff. So that's what I ended up turning to um, at the end of it to make it legal, just to kind of add to that situation. Since Google was changing their terms.
Hmm. Hashtag good advice.
Yeah, no, I know how to set up a business. That I could talk all day. Like I am the business major, and I've actually set one up. So
You have
Okay.
an MBA. That's correct.
yes, I have a master's in business administration.
I think what they say generally is that people with MBAs like to tell people that they have MBAs. But in this instance,
Well, what's funny is I don't care to tell people, but if you go on my LinkedIn, I have MBA next to my name because I want you to know. And then anytime I send my resume to a job or something, I put MBA after my name. So that
Hmm.
way they know what they're getting. They're
Yeah.
going to know.
Well, I want to know, Ari, what's your biggest fear since you were asking that? And Antony said he's afraid of humanity.
Yes, fuck people.
I mean, that's a legitimate fear to have. People are very. You don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, but what's
But
yours?
so I want to say like my biggest fear. And I mentioned this like to people like personally. Like I'm really afraid of aliens.
What?
Now,
What?
are we talking politically or like extraterrestrially?
Oh, that's funny. You're
Yeah,
no.
extraterrestrial. Yeah,
I'm not referring to immigrants. I'm not, referring to people that immigrate.
yeah, I
I'm
know.
talking about actual like extraterrestrial aliens. And I feel I watch a lot of too much like sci-fi, and
Like
the fact
shows or
that like
documentaries or speculation stuff.
all of the above,
All of
basically.
it. Okay, okay.
I watch like Ancient Aliens. I watch like documentaries. I watch even like horror movies that involve like aliens.
Yeah,
And my thing is like, there's this common like type of alien that I think everyone's aware of. It's like the little,
the
I guess they
Greys.
call it the Greys.
Yeah,
Or the big, black bulging eyes, barely any
and
nose,
they're about 3 to 4
and
feet tall. Yeah,
yeah.
gray,
Um,
not slimy skin, but almost reptilian skin. Yeah.
they're really creepy, and I'm deadly afraid of like abductions. If I am like abducted or anything, I don't want to know about it because like that'll just like bother me for the rest of my life,
First
basically.
off, if you're ever abducted, come to me first. I want to hear it.
I want
Yes.
to know where they entered,
I want to know
but
what they entered, what they put in, and what they left there.
what do they want,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm deadly afraid, and
That's
I think
interesting. I've never heard of anyone afraid of aliens. Well, I mean, I know people are afraid of aliens, but I've never heard anyone's like deathly afraid of that and or of being abducted.
I guess like it's not really deathly afraid of it, but it would really, 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 really bother me,
If you're like
because
that,
You know
there's so many
what?
theories out there. I'm going to say this really quick. If you're really like that and you would do ever get abducted, whatever the situation is,
that
whether
would
it's a
scar
mental
the hell out
issue
of me.
or
I
it's a
would.
physical one and it actually happens, you're going to have a bad time. If you're willing to accept it, those are the people that kind of have better experiences. It just really depends on
Mm,
like your personality and concept of being open. But that goes down into speculation and like people that do research into different abduction stories and all that stuff. So you're gonna have a
well,
bad
This
time. I want to hear
is
it.
my head.
yeah, I don't want to know. And the thing is, like, so I think people are aware of like the sleep paralysis and then also night terrors. When you're just like you're physically
Yeah.
sleeping, but then you wake up, and like you can't move your body. And a lot of reports, mention visitation of aliens or like
Or sleep
devilish
paralysis
or
demons or
yeah, the
succubi.
demons,
Yeah.
ghosts, what have you. And I've actually had moments where I was like sleep paralyzed, And a lot of those moments were, where I'm just lying in bed and I look, in front of me, and in front of me is like, my door. And so I always close the door when I go to sleep. And so I wake up and then I see like the door open, and then there's just like this sheet of blackness, that's, you can't see beyond. And that's when I usually get scared enough to like wake up and then see that, my door's closed and everything, but I don't want to see aliens. I will have a bad time.
This gives me some ideas, Ari. Um, One day I'm gonna just fly into town unannounced. I'm gonna show up outside your house in a gray alien costume,
No.
hang on your window. That's what I'm gonna have to do just to fuck with you
Antony,
because that's
Antony,
gonna be
Antony, I'll help
fun.
with this. I'm pretty decent at stage props. I'll help you set up some
Yes,
lights, deal with some tapping on
Also,
the door.
another thing is like if you know where my bedroom is, you'll know that there's like a motion light, right
Yes.
outside. And yeah, like that. No, don't do that, please.
I'll be sure to
that'll be
I'll be
fucking
sure to avoid triggering
hilarious.
it.
That'll be funny. I have a video camera ready to go.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
you'll like definitely scare me.
I'm gonna come let myself in the house and run in there and scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting fear. Um, I could go
No, what's
on and
funny
on
is
about
like
the.
so like I had mentioned this to like at the law school there's like a little meeting, it's kind of just like a place where you like talk about shit. And so like I had mentioned fears, and then like I talked about like my fear of aliens, and then this girl like right next to me was just like, "Oh, I think it'd be really cool." It's just like,
To get
"Oh, like,"
abducted.
and I'm just
You
like,
don't know what they're gonna probe you
I,
with.
and I'm just like, I'm deadly afraid of being probed. And she's like, "It sounds like fun." I'm just like, what? Oh man. I mean, hey, you do you, girl, but I'm good. I don't want to
I
be
told you,
experimented on.
if you're willing to let it happen or willing to just accept the experience, it's gonna be totally different for you. She'll probably have a good time. Whether she gets probed or not, I don't quite know, but she'll probably have a good time just seeing something new.
Yeah, she's one of like people that love like new experiences, and she always wants to know like the unknown, and I'm just like, I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Antony, you ever want to get probed by an alien?
No, I don't think no. No, because that means it's about to be a really bad day.
Or just a quick night.
Look,
Um,
if
I wouldn't
Anthony,
consider any of
if
that
you're
acceptable.
Anthony, like if you're just like you wake up in the middle of the night and you see like freaking aliens and they take you and then they probe you, it's just like you're gonna have a bad time. Like it doesn't matter who you are. It's just like,
It doesn't
you're
matter
not
what
you're not
teeth
having a
you
good
have or
time.
what you like. You're not going to have a good time, I promise you. If
Yeah.
some foreign
I'm anti-probing.
extraterrestrial alien comes up and wants to go inside your body, it's probably
Hashtag
going to
body
be your
autonomy.
last night alive.
Yeah, hashtag body autonomy here.
Interesting. Yeah, aliens and that kind of stuff is a totally different topic for me. I
That,
could
that is funny. I
I've seen a
definitely
lot of
want to
research on it.
show up at your house in a costume now because I will laugh my ass off.
I will kill y'all.
Oh, and now that's a threat. Yeah. How you gonna get out of this, Mr. Lawyer? You just
If you
openly
there
threatened
is a defense, if you scare me to like death, I will kill y'all.
to death. Okay. So you're gonna come back for
Yeah, I
us
was gonna say he's
anyway.
gonna come back. He's just gonna be a grieving ghost, like, oh, they got me good. Like that was such a good prank. I'm gonna come back and sue them. That's how I'm gonna spend my afterlife.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
that. I don't
So Dean,
know.
what was your fear again? Remind me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't quite know. I don't think I have a greatest fear.
He's almighty.
Yeah. I make the fear. I'm not quite afraid of much. Yeah. I don't know. I really have to think about it. I think about a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff gives you like existential thoughts.
Crisis. Yeah.
But did you just say races?
No, I said crisis.
Races.
Crisis.
Crisis. Okay.
Two different things.
Yeah, I just totally misheard you there. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I think a lot existentially. I'm okay with the concepts of things like death, or being isolated or being alone.
Some people have
I've thought about
rational or irrational fears.
Some people have a fear of living forever. They never want to live forever, and I've been 50-50 about that. I don't know if I do want to live forever, if the possibility existed or not, because I constantly am like, all right, well, imagine me learning how to do this, and then double that time, and then triple that time. Like, imagine just learning everything, and that takes you like 1 billion of years, but you actually remember it all, and then you double that and triple it, and now what else is there to do? So it's very complicated of a thought. But I love to learn.
Wouldn't that be like the thing in like eternity? Like let's say there is an afterlife, and then you have a whole eternity to basically live again. So isn't that like kind of the same thing?
Exactly. So I'm not quite sure. I know I'm familiar with some people that are afraid of that, even though that's not possible. Being reincarnated, that's something very different. You could definitely just have multiple iterations of learning your life and whatnot, which kind of goes into that whole simulation theory or religious stuff, which is not going to be part of this conversation. I can break that down.
Maybe a later conversation, guys. Yeah. Sorry, not this one.
Yeah. But as for my biggest fear, I used to be, as a kid, afraid of the dark, but it's not the dark. I was afraid of the unknown. Not that my house was haunted, but I was like, you never know what's around the door. Simple childhood. Now I'm like confident.
There could be someone. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm confident with the dark. I guess I'm still a little bit afraid of the unknown, but then at the same time, you guys know I'm kind of constantly doing weird or little new things or willing to try new experiences also. So I've kind of moved away from that. It's still a bit scary, but it's like I'm comfortable with it at least, or I have ways to cope with the unknown, like international flights for your first time or something like that. And I used to have a phobia of heights. I kind of broke that phobia. So I'm not quite sure what I have a fear of. I used to have a lot. I used to be very scared as a kid and teenager, but I've worked on removing that debilitating mindset so I can at least do things or approach things.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on the being afraid of the dark. I guess like as a kid, you never really know like what are the limits of like reality, for instance.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, oh my gosh, like a goblin might come in, and steal me or whatever. As I gotten older, it's gotten to more like realistic things of just like people breaking into the house or whatever, or like I'm like still a little bit afraid of aliens, so that's
no, you're definitely afraid of aliens and pranks. Good pranks.
I don't like the dark for that aspect because like you can't see like what's inside. And I keep like my bedroom dark, luckily for me there's like just enough like ambient lighting from like either the outdoors or from like devices in my bedroom, like my router, for instance. Just so that I can definitely see like, in my bedroom, but and I also close my door, so
I close my doors too. I'd be lying if I said I felt uncomfortable sleeping with my doors open, even my closet doors. I still keep them closed, so I guess it's like a sanity check or whatever. But I live alone and I still close the bathrooms when I go to the bathroom. I'm just used to.
You don't want anyone seeing you.
Yeah, I don't want anyone seeing me. No one can see me where my bathroom's located, but you never know. That'd be the one time someone breaks in and looks at me, dick in hand, and I'm like, hey, hold on a second. Like, let me at least finish the stream real quick. Otherwise, you're gonna get wet, and no one wants that.
Oh,
so,
no.
I'd rather close the door. They break in, they hear someone piss in the toilet. They're like, "Oh, wait a minute." Like, so
you're not the type to be naked in your house?
I'm shirtless all the time, like now, but you just I'm not naked though. I always have pants on or shorts on at least. I really don't know what my biggest fear is. I won't say people. I guess my biggest fear, this is going to sound weird or cheesy, is like the human mind or the human potential. We have the ability to just fantasize or imagine so many things that don't exist or slightly skewed or distorted. That it's just
Yeah, I mean, there's like a whole universe, just in one person's mind.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
And like when I was like 4 or 5, I saw the original It scene with it crawling out the shower drain. And that scared the living hell out of me. So even to this day, there's random times where I'll be in the shower. I'm like, I'm gonna keep my feet away from the shower drain just for a minute, or afraid to like open up the shower curtain and then see something just standing there.
Yeah.
But that comes, I think, from like childhood fears that just kind of like live with you for a bit. Everyone needs something to be afraid of. So
That gives me thought though, because going back to Antony's fear, and it all stems from like the mind, you never know what someone is truly thinking, what their intentions are, and I think that's like one big issue with like a fear of
That
people,
is
for
fucking
instance.
scary. Yes, you don't know what they're using you for.
And then even worse for like aliens, because it's like you don't know like what they're thinking, you don't know like their intentions as well. It's just like become less than human. You become like a pet
yeah,
in some way,
we don't feel top of
where
the
they can
food chain anymore.
manipulate you.
We're not. Yeah.
And that also stems back to like Antony's point. Being afraid of people, just like are they really just trying to use me? Like what are their intentions? What are they truly thinking? Are they gonna hurt me?
And that goes into conspiracy theory land, which I could break down for you guys at a different time, but I'm not going to. But I understand where the fear comes from with that, yes. What I'm going to say is something I believe. If they ever do show up, we shouldn't do, unless they are clearly aggressive, we shouldn't try to be aggressive towards them, because clearly they far surpass us with technology.
Yeah,
And
at that point, we got to bow down to them, because if they get here,
maybe not bow entirely and be like, a dog, but, we can
We may
assert
be
ourselves
doomed.
somewhat and show like we are competent, higher level thinking species. But yeah, there's no
I
like,
think we proved that with like nuclear weapons.
yeah, but there's no way that, obviously we can stand up to them, even if they show up with just one ship. Like, that's one ship. That's like, what high level intelligent species anywhere would just make one ship of something
I can travel like great distance like that.
Yeah, exactly. So
I had also like a thought that a lot of movies depict the aliens coming and landing in Washington D.C. or but the thing is, like, let's be realistic. Aliens would probably land where there's a whole bunch of humans, and where there's a whole bunch of humans is like Southeast Asia, because that's like it has the greatest density of people, and there's just like so many things to think about too. It's just like, where would they land, or how would they even contact us, or it's just a whole freaking universe of like possibility.
yeah, yeah, I love the concept of aliens and other life, like a lot of people. But going back to that intention thing, you never know. You don't even know your own intentions sometimes unless you're really good at introspection. So you don't know why your brain is conjuring up some visuals. If you're not
like, why am I seeing this
if you're not
person?
clinically diagnosed, everyone still has issues. Like, I don't have night terrors or sleep paralysis, but I have had sleep paralysis a couple times, just because I do a lot of lucid dreaming. So I've accidentally or intentionally forced myself awake in a dream sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I can't move. Let me try to make some noise real quick, because I know I'm in a dream state, so I got to try and make myself wake up. But I don't get like illusions or any hallucinations that just appear in front of me and they're like crawling up the bed towards me. No, I'm just like, oh, great, I'm in like this weird sleep state. But I'm aware of it. A lot of people aren't. That just comes from my past of learning about lucid dreaming and practicing it, and sometimes you can't turn it off.
Interesting.
But when your brain like makes auditory, like your brains will make auditory hallucinations sometimes, and you'll hear your name for no reason, or you'll hear things or visual ones, and it's like, that's just a weird hiccup of the brain processing stuff, but you don't know why that's happening, or if you have a bigger fear, you don't know exactly why that's the case, or like you guys said, what is someone's true intentions. So I like to put my intentions clearly in front of everyone of this is why I'm doing something, or why I'm here, or why I think this way. I do a lot of introspection, so I'm very aware of what I'm doing and why, but not everyone is, so you can't trust that. I guess that's my fear. I'm not quite sure. I kind of like repeated what Antony said, I guess, at the end of the day. But I'm not afraid of intentions of people. I'm afraid of what's in their mind and what they're seeing and believing. So, not that it's all bad. You don't know. You only know yourself. I think, therefore I am. Yeah, deep. So, Antony, you said you're wearing Hanes right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just joking. I didn't realize that was a thing.
No, he's of him wearing Hanes. He said he was.
Yeah. Oh.
He's like, I'm wearing them right now, actually.
Oh, good for you.
I used to do Fruit of the Loom, then I went to Hanes. You sure they weren't trying to just look at what kind of underwear? Say what?
Fruit of the Loom just sounds weird to me. The name is what is the turnoff? The fruit of what? Like
the loom.
Well, I mean, is protecting your fruits of the loom.
Yes, I know. That's why it's a weird name to me. But without going into detail, like that.
I never realized that's why it got its name.
I haven't bought from them because of their name.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a little basket for your fruit,
Never processed that. I just thought it was a cool name, honestly. I was like, oh, that's different. That's unique.
Mind blown.
Honestly, yeah. Because I have some Fruit of the Loom. I also have Hanes, but I was just like...
I mean, I feel like that was the first thing I've ever, like, really thought about, like, I guess, just like, oh, that makes sense. But I think that might just be me,
The first thing you ever really thought about and put much effort into understanding was the name Fruit of the Loom for your underwear.
No, I mean, like, you ever just, like, sit and think about, like, certain things and just, like...
Yeah, that's my day.
Think about, like, a name. It's just like, oh, wait, that makes sense. All right. That's actually pretty smart, yeah.
Yeah, I pencil that in 16 hours every day to think like that, so it's not an easy schedule to keep. I'm always double guessing or trying to figure out why things are named a certain way or why they're marketed a certain way or how we came to these conclusions and anecdotes and etc. It's interesting. History is amazing, but yeah.
Yes.
Oh, what were you gonna say, Ari?
Oh, I was just gonna mention, since we're like on the topic of like aliens, I guess we could just talk about like how. No, it's really funny. Like in the middle of the pandemic, while a whole lot of shit was going down, they're just like, so UFOs are a thing, and they're real, and we don't know what it is, and then they're just like, poof. All right, no explanation, no further explanation needed. And people were just like okay with it, and just like okay, like I think we've experienced a lot of weird things in the past couple of years, and it's at this point it's just like, all right, good to know.
Oh yeah, everyone's like years and years ago. Oh, when the government announces they actually are tracking UFOs and whatnot. Oh, it's gonna be such a big thing, and then it barely broke the news. And yeah, they had a 60-minute segment on it, I think, but no one really paid attention and whatnot, or it was very underhyped.
Yeah,
they had a whole division devoted to studying them. Now, to clarify again, just because someone says UFO, it does not mean there's aliens. It just means it's an unidentified flying object.
Disclaimer.
Same with USO, unidentified submerged objects.
We don't know what these are, but it's from the research, it looks like it's no like specific like country. The technology is just a little bit like very interesting. Like
that's if you think it's technology and stuff. I've done some research. Well, correction, I've done research. I've watched videos of people that have done research to break down or analyze those, and I can send you the links. But pretty much all those videos and whatnot, they have a pretty decent and valid explanation for scientifically that's not extraterrestrial in origin. I'm going to say that. It comes down to a lot of math and some context clues or understanding like the cameras and stuff that they're using and why things may be shaped or look that way. But because I'm not a camera expert, but depending on what kind of lens you have, kind of really affects frame rate and like pixelated objects and whatnot. What kind of like images or imprints you'll get if you have some dilation and whatnot. So yeah, I'll share that with you. But they kind of broke it down where it's like even people that really want it to be aliens are like, yeah, I can't justify or defend these videos that were released or quote unquote leaked. So, but yeah, I do remember how it was like for like a decade ago when we were growing up, people were like, yeah, like, oh, once the government admits to this stuff, it's going to be big. And here it is. They've spent years and millions of dollars researching this stuff just to leave it inconclusive. And no one reacted to it on the news or anything, really. It was just like, yeah, this is a thing. You know, it happens every couple months.
That is pretty scary, though. You know, it's just like no one knows what they are, and then it's just something to live with.
Yeah.
Antony, they have no control over it.
Antony, do you think there's extraterrestrial life out there? Ari thinks there is. I'm pretty sure he does. He's got a fear
I think there's a strong potential of it. I just hope that they never show up here.
Gotcha. You hope we meet
it might be
at
too
like
late if they actually are UFOs. It's just like a little too late, you know.
I hope Pluto becomes like the Switzerland of discussions. We just send people out to Pluto to talk as the neutral ground. I don't know. Probability, statistically, it says it's likely that there's other life out there.
Are they really visiting, though?
At the same
it's probably
time,
very unlikely.
That's what the other part
they
of it
would have
is.
to live very close.
You would have to span galaxies and galaxies just to find a needle in the haystack, to be honest. So,
yeah.
Could you imagine traveling that fast through the galaxy just to have a meeting? We're talking about Concorde.
I know.
And fast flights earlier. What if we advance to the level that we're having meetings in other galaxies one day?
Oh, yeah, that'll be like
that'd be pretty sweet.
Centuries and millennia from now, but that'd be great.
I'll take a vacation in Andromeda, you know.
Anywhere in Andromeda. Just, we're going to the galaxy for the weekend. Yeah, traveling at the speed of light and still taking 4 years. Yeah, that'd be fantastic for a vacation, just to go one way. So,
but couldn't you go faster than the speed of light, or no?
Yeah, I think that's what Antony was alluding to. It's just being able to travel faster than light. You know.
Yeah, that comes down.
That would be a dark journey, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would, because you're. Actually, that's exactly what it is. It'd be very black. It's not like sci-fi and whatnot. You see all the lights and whatnot, maybe for a split second, but you're traveling faster than light, so you can't capture the light. You'll capture what you catch up to, and it hits you in the face. But after that, it's going to be very dark until you stop at your destination.
It depends really on the physics.
Now, do radio waves travel faster than light waves?
No,
they're another form of
they're
light.
Practically the same. It's just the light is the visible part spectrum of waves.
Correct. It's just the frequency that you're detecting. So radio waves are a much lower frequency, and I'm wrong about this. I forget what the lowest frequency is called, gamma or something. But that's pretty much what most of the universe is propagating with, because the light's been traveling for so far and for so long. It's just at the lowest frequency it can maintain.
I think you're mistaken. Gamma has like the wavelengths close to each other.
Okay, yeah, that's gamma's the highest frequency. Yeah, the lowest one I forget what it's called. It's lower than microwave and whatnot.
I think it's radio, if I remember correctly.
It might be. But that's why we can detect
radio can stretch out for miles. Like
you can fit so many gamma ray amplitudes into one radio frequency amplitude. It just depends on that.
Really, if you're flying that faster than the light and radio waves, there would be no way to radar detect any obstacles in your way on that path. You'd really have to plan your path that nothing is going to get in the way.
Which is
Yeah.
impossible because like there's always something, in the way. And
Well,
if you're traveling faster than light, whatever you hit, has a lot of energy.
if you think about it, the way you'd have to plan it, because the technology we have, we're limited to the speed of light and the speed of radio waves. So you would almost have to plan your journey. If you were going light speed and it took 4 years light speed, you have to plan over 4 years in advance and predict where the objects moving through space will wind up. No, you'd have to predict more than 4 years. You'd have to predict 8 years, because it'd take 4 years for the signal to reach it, and then 4 years for the signal to bounce back.
Yep.
So then you'd have to plan more than 8 years in advance, and to construct all that math would take several years. So then just to have a quick journey like that, you'd have to be a planet 10 years in advance. So we're going to go on vacation to that far off galaxy in 10 years. And we may be able to go, we may not, but we won't know until right before we have to leave. So let's just make sure we have off for a few months, 10 years from now. Like, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
I think like it really depends on like the technology, and of course you can't really predict what it would look like, but as far as we know, traveling faster than light is an impossibility. There might be ways there might be ways like to circumvent it, like one idea is like wormholes, which is like, bending space and time in order to get to whatever time or place in the universe. But
if
of course
space and time is bendable, I believe we're in a simulation at that point.
Oh, simulation theory. I love it.
That we would end up basically, if we can bend space and time, then technically, I think that's a level of hacking into the system we're stuck in.
Because we got to break the laws of nature. Well,
bend the laws of nature.
Bend them, yeah. Because when we talk about gravity, and that changes the perception and stretching out or compression of time, which is time is all relative, which is real statement. We're not exactly breaking the laws, but we now have control over large mechanics of the universe. Things that control the universe on scales bigger than us.
We could move stars. We could move galaxies.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when you get into the real sci-fi stuff, because it's technically possible, but how do we do it with what resources we have, and how long does it take? And so, yeah, it is kind of a form of hacking, but at the same time, so is us discovering fossil fuels and making energy out of it, or the steam engine and whatnot. That's just not natural.
By the way, I'm going to have to get off this call in a second.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We lost track of time. Yeah, that was a good discussion, everybody.
Great work, team.
Yeah, thanks again.
That was random AF.
Yeah, thanks again, everyone, for tuning into this. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning into this. I am Dean. This is Unfiltered Pineapple, and I'm joined with Antony and Ari. Any final statements, gentlemen?
No, just be sure to follow us on social media.
We're about to plan the meeting some extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, everybody.
And we won't see it coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Bye.
Bye.